Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of our in-depth teaser right here on the Global Underwater Explorers YouTube channel with me, Nico Luro, and over to my left here, as always, we have the rock star, Mr. Michael Menduno.
Hey Nico, how you doing today? Good to
I'm
see you.
good, buddy. Yourself?
I'm good. Yeah, got a new issue coming down the pipe, so
So
that's
it's
always
always a good
exciting
time
for
to
me.
rock and roll.
That's right. That's right. I actually got to play. So we had the GUE meeting,
I saw.
the Edge 2 workshop last week up in British Columbia, Vancouver Island, and we had a band come up and play, and then the GUE musicians got up and played the fundies, and so I got to play
I
bass
saw.
with
You
Steve
and
Millington and Dave Watson and Francesco Camelli was
yep,
up there. It was quite fun. Yep.
I saw you all, you bunch of hippies jamming together. I loved it. It was
That's right.
awesome.
Some classic rock. So I
Very
have some
cool.
questions for you today
Of
for
course you do.
this coming issue. You know.
Of course.
So first, what was the first decompression device used by sport divers?
Haha. I'm going to go to my roots here. The paddy wheel.
Well, that is a really good guess, but it's not the right answer. But that was a device used by sport divers, yes. Second question, was this device based on tables, electronics, or what?
Well, I'm going to stick with the table answer.
And actually, that one is wrong too. Final question, and then we're going to get to these at the end. What was really innovative about it? What did this device do that no other devices had done before it, or approaches to managing decompression?
This is completely the wrong answer because I know you had things like the barometer which did this, but accurately measured pressure in relation to time.
That is a really good guess, Nico. That is actually a really good guess. We're going to come back to that at the end of our little thing and talk about it. So I think you'll find it interesting. Yeah.
Before we get into the stories, guys, please do remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please do share this little mini kind of podcast teaser thing that we do with anyone who you think may be interested. And this is what we're talking about today. Michael, over to you.
Yep. So our opening story, take only pictures, leave at most bubbles. A case for wreck preservation. It's a great story by Rupert Simon. He is a CMOS instructor. He's a member of the scientific committee for CMOS, and he's a scientific committee of Finnish divers, and also on the Finnish Maritime Archaeology Society. And it's really a program talking about UNESCO and the idea of protecting our underwater cultural heritage. So UNESCO had a big meeting about this, a convention, and put out the recommendation that for items on the seafloor older than 100 years, they should be left as they are and not touched, not retrieved, not taken, etc. This is, of course, controversial in some ways, and Rupert goes through and makes this case, looks at examples from UNESCO, but also various countries, the Royal Oak in Scapa Flow, the SS Sturban in the Baltic Sea, etc., and why this is important for wreck divers, so that they're and archaeologists, so that there's still something there to see when we get there. Interestingly, we have this paired with an article by Gary Gentile, famous author, shipwreck historian, explorer, and his story is called "For Whom the Shipwreck Bell Tolls," and this is a story of his adventures collecting about 8 different bells. In some cases, from the Andrea Doria, various other wrecks. And what's interesting about it is, well, in seawater, things degrade, right? Maybe not in the Baltic, that's kind of a unique environment, but things degrade. So the argument is, if we don't remove this bell from the Andrea Doria and bring it up to the surface, no one's going to see it because it's going to destroy. The wreck's collapsing. It's all just going to be buried. Freshwater, not the same in the Great Lakes. They recognize leaving wrecks intact. So anyway, so we present these two stories as sort of looking at the case for preservation. People like Gary, of course, have these artifacts, but they don't sit in their houses. They have them out at museums and shows and everything. So their argument would be, I help make the public aware of these artifacts. So anyway, it's a pair of really interesting stories, I think. So yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, on to human factors. We have a new piece from Gareth Locke, our human factors coach, and the title is "Cause of the Accident: The Loss of Situational Awareness." So on this one, Gareth looks at a wreck diving incident. It's a close call. No one died from it or got injured, but could have. And then goes through and really looks at the contributing factors and takes a deep dive really into situational awareness, our models of situational awareness, how it works. And, you can really describe situational awareness as our awareness of what's happening around us and what is likely to happen. Very, very important for divers. So Gareth really goes through this and looks at it in some depth. So it's really an interesting piece, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Love that.
Yep. We have a couple of cool dive stories. One, I See Darkness by one of our writers, Andrea Murdoch-Alpini. And this is his adventures diving Germany's, I never can pronounce this right, Felicitas mine in Germany. And he has some adventure there. It's a really nice video he's put together, etc. And the second piece is from Rob Wilson, GUE member out in New Zealand, who's has one of the ghost diving organizations that cleans up, ghost nets and other things. And he has a great piece called Why We Ghost Dive. And it's based around the video he did for the GUE TV contest. He was a runner-up. Their film is called Fight for the Future. And so we have that in the story. So people will be able to see it.
Good.
Yeah.
Again, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Always love these dive stories. I'm particularly looking forward to that German one from Andrea.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. The mine and artifacts down there, footprints of the miners. I mean, you can really
that sounds really
get some
cool.
sense of how they lived in this mine, right? So anyway, it's a good story. So now we come back to our original questions. What was the first deco device?
Right.
So let me just pronounce it correctly. This was a device that was called the SOS Automatic Decompression Meter. It was invented in 1959 by two Italians, Victor Aldo De Sanctis, he was a known underwater cinematographer at the time, and then engineer Carlos Alinari. And their company was called Strumenti, I'm probably butchering this, Odyssey Subacquei, SOS, in other words. So what was really interesting about this device is that it was basically an analog computer. The story is called the SOS Bend-O-Matic or Game Changer. So this was really the first device of its kind. It operated on a very unique principle. It had a bag of gas in the unit. Here's one of them, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So it's got a deflatable gas bag in there. And as you take it under pressure, the gas is forced through a little ceramic portal into a fixed container. And so the pressure is measured there. And then that pressure drives the dial to tell you how long you should, if you need decompression, and how long you need decompression.
Right.
So this first story is by a guy, Stephen Ime. He's a former mine clearance diver with the French Navy, a dive historian, and he's written this excellent piece sort of looking at this technology and analyzing it. He compares the results of this against the Navy tables from 1956, and also, because this was early on, and also an early some French Navy tables, both for single dives and repetitive dives. And the fact is that even though this was, again, it was supposed to, this one ceramic and that meters the gas through it is supposed to predict what's going on in all your tissues, but it sort of worked. And then we have a second story, actually, from the famous Mr. Brett Gillum, who was, he used to dive the SOS meter, him and all his friends. So he talks about their experience diving these things. It was used, for example, on the film shoot The Deep with Jacqueline Bisset, Al Giddings film, and everybody had SOS meters on these dives, and it was the dive computer of the day. What made it so unique is that it actually, unlike a table where you have to say, well, let me see my max depth, my time, it actually measured, as you said, your gas pressure over time. So it actually followed your profile. So it's an interesting look in some early technology, which then, of course, inspired the electronic dive computer with the original Divetronic Deco Brain, which was really a table lookup device. The Orca Edge in 1992, and then eventually the Decor Micro Brain in I think that was the late 90s, like late 80s, 88 or something like that, 89. So anyway, it's a really interesting pair of stories.
Yeah, you're downplaying this quite beautifully, mate, because let's be real, that little thing you're holding in your hand, that's some serious diving history there.
Isn't it? It's very cool. Yeah.
You downplayed that wonderfully. I looked at that and I kind of got a whoa, it's like that was from our forefathers of diving.
Yes. And the fact that it really worked, Brett relates his ongoing conversations with the famous Dr. Bill Hamilton, one of the early dive physiologists who really helped tech diving get going and did the
and
early
my number
tables.
5 in the top 10 dive pioneers of all time. Carry on.
That's right. Right. And Bill had a saying, what works. I mean, you can build all this fancy mathematics, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you can do something really simple like this that has no physiological tie, really, just a piece of ceramic, but it works. So it works, So quite interesting. Yeah.
It's cool, dude. It's really cool that you're holding something like that in your hand. Yeah. Okay. So anything else, or more to the point, Michael, if that's it for the stories, when is this issue coming out and where can people find it?
We do have a couple of additional things, I should say. We have our new section. It's the data, stupid. So we have the results of the panic survey that we'll be sharing, and then we're doing a new survey on sustainability and conservation. So we have that and some great news stories, which will be running on the harbor cleanup, the Edge 2 workshop, and some other things. So the issue will be out April 7th, next Thursday. Or this Thursday, actually. I'm excited about it. And look for it in your inbox.
And where can people find it?
People can find it at gue.com/blog or InDepth.blog. Subscriptions are free. If you subscribe, then you'll get our news stories come out. We'll push them into your inbox, so you'll be able to see them and click over to the website and read them. So
it's all free.
That's where we are.
Good. Amazing dive stories coming into your inbox every month. It's all free, as is the YouTube channel. All we ask in return is that you please do like the video, share the video with anyone who you think may be interested, and indeed, please share the links to InDepth so that you can share the dive stories that Michael's writing with other people who may be interested in something even more developed than this video. But please also remember to tickle the notification bell so you're alerted to whenever we have a new piece of content coming out on the channel. I'm Nico Luro. He's Michael Menduno, and we will see you all on the next issue.
See you soon.